Okay.
Oh.
Noddle.
Okay. Light of the light.
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Welcome to yet another episode. I make it sound bad by saying it like that, don't I?
Yeah,
Another one. Yeah, here we go.
It's an ordeal.
This is Midnight Movie Distillery. I am one of your hosts, Logan Lynch.
I'm another one of your hosts, Warwick Price.
And I'm Lon Black.
And today...
I was like...
okay, so...
We practiced this forever.
Oh,
yeah, we do.
Take 75.
So today we're going to be talking about Night of the Living Dead. Obviously one of George Romero's first movies. Actually, I think it's his first full-length action movie. And what else do we do on this amazing podcast?
So on this amazing podcast, only the amazing
as
one.
opposed to the normal
we don't
one
do
record.
any episode.
We're not amazing anywhere else.
I do want to point out we're trying some new mics out. What do
So
you
hopefully
think?
it sounds
Are they
better.
sexy?
We hit the record button, right?
Yeah,
We did? Yes, we
I'm
did.
pretty sure.
So we're trying out some new mics. Hopefully they sound a little better. We haven't had complaints from anybody saying that our sound is horrible or anything like that. We just
Except for
figured-
ourselves.
Yeah, we're getting
But
some
we only,
nasty
have,
clips
we only have
and-
25 people
Right.
listening anyway.
I
All
think 33.
seven
We
of
have
our
33,
followers.
33 subscribers
That is true.
on YouTube.
We're going up
I'm sorry,
and
34. I saw that recently.
Okay, so
We're
you
getting
guys
there.
probably heard me talking a little bit about this before, so you probably know what direction I'm going.
Okay.
But this film, Night of the Living Dead, takes place in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia claims to be the origin of whiskey.
Does
They
it?
say they are the... Now, technically, it did start by a couple French people out in France. I think. Well, I don't think they were in France. I think they actually were in Great Britain. But maybe I'm wrong.
There's no French people in Great Britain.
Nobody really knows the history of whiskey. It was not tracked, so these are only stories that have been passed down. So Philadelphia thinks that they have the origin for American whiskey. Even though the recipes in distilling came from overseas, distilling's been around since Egyptian times, so it's not a big surprise. But when they got to Philadelphia, Philadelphia was able to grow rye very easily.
Okay.
So all the whiskeys were rye whiskeys. Then what happened was they would do the crops and they would have some left over and they didn't want it to go to waste, so they couldn't do like bread necessarily or just that all the time because that has a finite lifespan. So they started making rye whiskey because rye whiskey lasts a really long time. So they started making rye whiskey, and Alexander Hamilton from the Broadway fame
Yeah. He sings a lot.
decided that they needed to tax whiskey in order to make up the deficit. They had just come off the American Revolution, so they needed to make back the deficit that they had created in the war against England. They decided to tax the whiskey. The farmers did not like that, and it was America's first revolt against the government. And it was also the first time troops were deployed against U.S. citizens
Wow.
to stop this uprising.
Interesting.
Now, no shots were fired. These are farmers who just wanted to make some booze for themselves, So it crushed that uprising pretty much right away. But that was the first revolution inside the United States. Now, what had happened was there were certain sanctions given and certain breaks given and certain grandfathering in, depending on your land and depending who you talk to on the story. And to escape it, because the embargo was on mostly that grain, on rye, a lot of the distillers then moved to Kentucky, where the grain that was most easily grown was corn.
Okay.
So they started doing corn whiskey down there, which became the bourbon that we now know, because as we know, bourbon has to be 51% corn, and then it can be whatever else rye.
So it was a federal tax, then, I'm assuming.
It was a federal tax,
Okay, 'cause then
which
I was-
means it could have gone anywhere.
Okay.
but
That's what I was
it
going to say.
on the
If they would have
grain.
moved to Kentucky, then...
That was the mistake that was made. And again, I'm going by what I read on the internet. We know the internet doesn't lie.
They
It's
don't
all true.
always tell the truth.
So Philadelphia claims that they were the start of American whiskey.
Okay.
Okay. So with that,
So with that long-winded explanation, I'm just kidding.
So with that
That's a
long-winded
history
explanation,
lesson. I like it.
We are doing
the more you know.
a Pennsylvania rye whiskey
Ooh,
that
I like the bottle.
this is supposed to be one of the early, if not original, distilleries. There was one distillery that claims to be the original distillery out there, who, you'll be interested to know,
Was Irish?
changed names. No. Change here. You can pass the
I was
bottle.
gonna say, let me
It's a
see.
pretty
I
cool
want to
bottle.
take a picture of that.
Yeah.
This is not cheap. This is I went a little.
You
off
spoil
right
us, man.
because
You
I
spoil us.
want to get. This is. Well, I can't tell you how much it was. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, where was I? One of the early distilleries out there was the people who do mixtures.
Oh, really?
It changed names 3 times or 4 times throughout history, and the last person who had it, before it went defunct, was a guy. He named it after his 2 sons, Michael and
Jordan. I'm just kidding.
No, Michael and well, why am I going?
Leonardo.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm trying to help you here.
Peter.
Tur-
That was it, Peter. Michael and Peter. Michter. That's how they got Michter.
Oh, okay.
So it was Michter, but Michter.
Sounds
So
very
that,
German.
that went defunct, and then somebody bought it and rebranded under the last distillery's name, which was Michter. They bought this some 10, 15 years ago, and now they start making Michter's bourbon, which is a very, very good bourbon.
Okay.
But they then moved the distillery from Pennsylvania to Kentucky. So now Michter's is made in Kentucky also.
So this is still made in Pennsylvania.
This is made in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Bedford County.
So-
It is made with some corn, I believe, too, though.
It says pure. It says pure rye.
There you go, pure rye. Then it's not a corn. Well, let's open this bitch up.
Yeah. Pun
You want
intended.
that? So,
I can't read that right.
that long-winded story was not to say, but there's a big difference between rye whiskey and corn whiskey.
So when we went to Binny's last year
Yep.
and did Whiskey Fest,
Yep.
I didn't particularly like the ryes quite so much.
I'm on the
so
same.
the ryes are going to be a little bit peppery, a little more peppery, a little more spicy
Okay.
because of the grain.
See, I like spicy.
A
So.
wheat grain is going to be a little bit more sweet, and the corn grain, of course, is the one that everybody goes for because that's where you get the big notes of. But yeah. I mean, it's pretty rye, man.
Yeah.
You're if you don't like rye whiskey, you may not dig on this.
Dude.
It's not an unpleasant
Oh.
smell.
While
Okay.
I'm pouring, would you be so kind as to, since we don't cut out our edits, to go get our rating barrels?
Oh, yes.
That might help.
That would be
You
good.
go ahead and do the pour.
Yeah. I'll do
We'll edit out this side. We'll like zoom in so it just looks like it's just Lon and I. Sorry.
add a little splash. in there.
I'll like disappear and then.
All right.
We'll ghost you in.
Yeah.
Now, I will say I do like, I have a tendency to like rye myself. I do. Can you guys see that one?
Oh, you can smell the spice.
Oh, I just spilled it all over myself, too.
I
I
mean,
was just saying, like, how did
It's
we end
going
up
to
with
be
more?
spicier.
even when you smell it.
Right, and spicier. We're not talking jalapeno pepper kind
Right,
of
right,
spice.
right.
We're talking just that little bit of pepper to it.
A little tang. to
Okay?
it.
Have we
Swipe
got the
the
rating
mic, sorry.
cards? Oh, you're jumping the flavor.
Oh yeah, well, hold on there.
Shall we?
Yeah,
Mm.
there it is.
See, I wonder if the bottles, smelling it from the bottle is not as good. All right.
Got a kick to it. But
That is rye.
it's
Don't. We're going to rate it now.
Right.
It is single barreled rye.
My tongue's still tingling.
You mean from earlier?
I should call her. Anyway.
Oh my God.
No, it's
All
like
right.
interesting.
so-
it's interesting. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I definitely get a lot of. Well, here, let's rate it real quick.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, that
you
was
got the
a-
twinge. You got the twinge.
I got a chill, and they were
Wait, hold on.
multiplying.
I ended up with somebody didn't put these back in order. Son of a biscuit. There we go. All right.
Now, don't forget when you flip it, your right side is the whole number.
Well, that's why you
the
just
left
don't
side's the
have.
point.
How about you have whole numbers?
Yeah, well, remember back in
Okay.
the day when we thought 5 was enough? Okay,
Yes.
ready?
I am ready.
And go.
Bam.
All right, so what do we got here? 3, 2.5, and a 3.5.
Okay.
Okay, so Logan, we should say for the podcast people, Logan did a 3. Logan, why 3?
I chose 3 because I normally do not like ryes, but I actually like this one. This was actually pretty good. It seems it does have that kick, like you were saying, kind of the spiciness.
It's got a
but it
peppery
but
kick to it.
but it felt good. It was a good, refreshing kick. Although my tongue towards the end there kind of like sort of felt like I put my. It reminded me of Szechuan peppercorn.
See, but you're not. Don't confuse this with like peppercorn. It's not that kind of a hot. Not
No.
that kind of
But
spice.
so same thing with peppercorn. Szechuan peppercorn is more like they liken it to putting your tongue on a 9-volt battery. It's more like a tingle. It's not so much.
Okay.
Those
It does
Chinese,
have- it
those
does have
Chinese, it's like
Yeah,
With that
they're like,
9-volt battery.
it's gone
There
back
you
like
go.
2,000
Boom.
years.
I did like it though. I would consider keeping this in my ride depending on the price point, but you mentioned it. Not that you don't want to mention it, so I'm just going to leave
we'll
it
talk
at
about that.
that. Okay.
2.5.
So,
Warwick's 2.5, by the way. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
sorry.
Warwick gave it 2.5.
Not super high, but not bad.
not bad. I mean, in other words, it's. I would absolutely, definitely, if you gave me this glass and then poured me another glass, I would absolutely finish the glass.
Shit. Speaking
Both
of,
Holy
Jesus.
shiitake. Now I'm afraid to tell you how much that costs.
Yeah, that's.
Suck that.
I was trying to move that so I didn't do that, and then I ended up
Suck
doing
that
it.
down,
Yeah.
It's okay, you can get a paper towel. We don't edit, people. Everything we do stays in,
including the stain.
including the spill.
This is like aliens. In a second, it's going to come through the bottom of the table.
Oh my God! Oh, that's spicy. So go on.
Okay, sorry.
So what do you think of it?
So
Why?
I like it, but I'm be honest and just say it's like the spiciness on it is just a little bit
Much?
off-putting.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
And it actually has, and I'm sure you're going to give me a good answer for this. It actually has more of a Scotch type flavor to it.
Yeah, I got
Yes.
that.
Well,
If you can hear me.
all right.
You're going to splice this together.
Let's try that again.
Look, new mics, new equipment. It's
People
we
spilling
fucked up
stuff.
Before, we're going to keep screwing up. So
Yeah.
nothing. changes.
So anyway, I changed my rating to a 3. It's growing on me.
Yeah.
It is. But I think that I think it's a good solid 3.
I get still heavy vanilla notes. I still get a creaminess to it. a
Cream,
mouthfeel.
absolutely.
Vanilla, I'm agreeing on that one.
It's very, very feels good in the mouth. It's got a good mouthfeel
Yeah.
to it. I hate using that word mouthfeel, but it has a good mouthfeel to it. It does. Now, I like rye whiskey. That's why I gave it a 3.5, because to me this is above average. 3 being average, this is above average. I would put this probably amongst the top of the ryes that I've got in my bar. This is probably
Wow.
the best rye that I've had in the house,
Okay, I agree.
to me. And I'm loving it. I mean, I really do like it a lot.
So now I feel that I'm repeating something. Maybe I didn't repeat.
Repeat it. It's okay. They love hearing us twice.
And I'm English, so. It's like it has flavors of Scotch to me.
Yes.
But I think that's because of the pepperiness to it and the peat. So we're comparing the rye with maybe the peat smoke that's coming, because this isn't smoked at all.
Right.
But that's the only thing I can come up with off the top of my ass. It's got to be, because the grains are different, right?
That's never a good sound.
No, that's never a good sound. Don't worry, you didn't hear that. But that's the only way I get the Scotch thing, but I don't get the smoke. I don't get the peat as much. But that spice, I think, is fooling you.
Okay. But it's good. I'm happy
I like
to
it.
change my
So this bottle,
rating. This is where you're going to tell us.
this is good.
This is going to tell me
This is
that
great.
I
Okay,
royally
so
screwed
do we
up by
get to-
spilling it.
Do we get to guess?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead, give it a shot.
Now, should we guess in terms of how much
Yeah, I just.
Logan spilled?
Jesus. That's-
He'll only feel bad.
I
but
think
yeah.
this is.
I already feel
I
bad.
think it's a $90
Okay,
bottle of whiskey.
all right.
I was going to go 80.
80. Would you like another tip, by the way? Because you're empty.
No, I'm
You got a whole
probably.
movie to review.
I know.
You
But
got
I
a
feel
whole
bad
movie
now.
to review.
That's my punishment.
Okay, so
Fine, just a little.
there you go. There you go. Like a big boy.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Just enough. Just enough.
$75.
Oh!
It's
I was
close.
pretty damn
Yeah,
close.
that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's good. That's
$75. Is it cut off a little bit there?
No, I think
the
it's
water
still-
bottle's cutting it off.
Can you
there.
see it?
You can still see it.
People?
Oh,
I
geez.
don't know.
People, can you see it? People,
Yeah.
So-
we need a response right now.
So $75,
put it in the comments.
which, as we've talked about, 30, 35 is like the sweet spot, 40, 30 to 40 maybe. 50 is when it's better be pretty good. $70, you're starting to get to that Scotch level where,
Yep.
yeah, I'd pay $70 for a Scotch any day, but what about this? I would buy this again. They actually have a version of this. I believe this is a 5-year or an 8-year. Anybody get to see that on it? What it was?
I don't know. Mike.
Yeah.
The one that actually has glasses on should probably be
Because these
reading
are
that.
6 years.
6 years
right?
old.
6 years.
Yes.
So they do have a 10-year-old version of this.
So that would just mean it's smoother then, right?
Correct. It's about another $10
Okay.
for that. So it's going to be a little smoother.
Oh, so
a
you're
little more
cheapskate is what you're telling
a
us.
little more-
It's
Yeah.
104 proof.
104 proof. That's the other thing. So you're still going to get a little bite to it.
Yeah.
Because it is 104.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I'm not going to go above 3,
Mhm.
but it's like this definitely is growing on me.
I love that creaminess.
I really was
Really
toying with a 2 initially. So here's a lesson learned. It's like, don't judge a whiskey by its
Bottle?
bottle.
Yep.
Well, no, but actually,
That's a good bottle.
But
I
actually,
like
it's a
that.
good bottle.
It is a cool bottle.
So I probably would have rated it higher if
Yeah.
it was just on a bottle. But
Yeah.
my first taste was just not necessarily that pleasing. But definitely it's growing on me.
It's from Bedford, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I'm digging it. I'm
Cool.
liking it.
Okay.
Let's talk movies. So what
Gonna talk
movie
about
did we
movies?
watch?
So we watched Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's
1968.
1968.
68, correct.
First movie, first full movie.
that he wrote.
Wrote with John Russo. We would go to the rating first. So
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We should do
Let's
it.
rate
let's
it.
do the rating first.
Barrels.
And before we rate it, let's all acknowledge the fact that this is widely regarded as
Are you trying to influence our voting?
Yeah.
It's widely regarded.
Wait till
No.
everybody has their
Okay.
number picked,
Okay.
then
Widely
say what you want to
regarded
say.
as means it has to be something either really good or really bad.
or we could just rewatch Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The next generation.
For the next generation. Or was that 3? No, I'm sorry.
That was
No, it's
That was
4.
4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Night of the Living Dead, people. Bam. 3, 3.5, 4.5.
Wow.
Okay. Let's talk. Now, we should specify, because I just rattled off numbers. Logan gave it a
3.
3. Warwick gave it a,
3.5.
and I gave it a 4.5. Highest being 5.4.
Highest available numbers.
Right? Out of numbers we got. So, all right, low man on the totem pole. Why'd you give it such a pissant score? You mother?
So I gave it a 3. I originally hated zombie films. I had not seen Night of the Living Dead.
When you say originally, when you're talking when you were a little kid?
Yes,
you
yes.
saw it?
I'm talking
well,
years
all
ago.
right.
I just never got into zombie films.
Right.
Yes. And I sounded just like that too. This was a movie that I had heard all about, never watched it because I thought zombie movies were stupid. I originally thought they were dumb. I thought it was pointless. Then I went and saw
When you say zombie movies,
zombie movies in general.
this was one of the first ones.
Exactly.
ever.
I never watched any zombie movies. None. Until 28 Days Later.
Okay.
Which then
Shit.
forced me to go back, because I loved 28 Days Later, so it forced me to go back and rewatch the movies, Night of the Living Dead and some of the other ones. And after doing so, I got a better liking for the movie. So I gave it a 3, mostly because I'm still not a huge fan of zombie films, but this one is there was a political twist on it that I had heard not too long ago, and that's what made me start looking at it differently. And it made me look at the movie better with behind better goggles, I guess, the next time I watched it, which was recently. So I gave it the 3 because it's still hard for me to give a zombie movie that much praise, because I'm not a huge fan of zombies, but this one is definitely in my probably top 15 movies.
So even going back, okay, a couple things here. I got 2 things to unpack. One, you said going back to it, you had a bigger appreciation for it once you heard about more of the political statements it was making and things like that. Allegedly making.
Yes.
It's true, because one of us has information on Romero, I'm sure, on this. And that still didn't catapult it higher than a 3 for you.
Correct.
Second thing is, what was that last thing you said about it? About zombie movies. You don't like zombies, still don't like zombie movies.
I still am not as big a fan of zombie movies as most people are.
Okay, so given the fact that this is a zombie movie, you're basing on it not whether it's a good movie, but just because you're not fond of zombies?
No, me being not fond of zombies will bring down the score. So like it would be like
I think that's fair.
Yeah, like I'm only bringing it down because obviously there's certain things about it that I think need to be corrected, that need to be fixed, that it's not perfect to me like some people say it is.
Okay, now you're not talking about fixing a movie that was from 1968
Correct.
to stand up to 2020 standards.
Sure. No, correct. No, it's more just, but then, there's another part of me that talks me out of that, and that's where I gave it a 3, was because of the fact that this was kind of the first movie to really push that envelope. And I felt that after seeing the Night of the Living Dead, then I went back even further and saw White Zombie. And that I felt, this is going to sound bad, but I even liked that more than Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
So it's just kind of, it's a balance game with me. Yes, yeah. It's not so much. I don't feel like I'm trying to defend it, my opinion, in any way, shape, or form. But it just, for some reason, zombie movies have never really been my forte, and I'll watch them. And
I'm sure one of our 34 followers would agree with you.
Yeah, because he's one of them.
And
yes. Got to get those numbers
good
up.
point. All right. Okay.
So,
Mr. Price.
okay. So I give it a 3.5. I really like this movie.
See,
I
he
do,
gave it a 3.5.
But I do think that there is a certain amount of, it's been put on this kind of high shelf of this is what everyone, whenever they do a zombie movie, this is what everyone is trying to compare it to.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched it the other day, it's probably the 20th time I've seen the movie. I've also seen staged adaptations of it and things like that. And it's not a perfect movie.
No.
In terms of
that movie is really perfect.
No, but but the reason I say that is there are college classes that talk about this movie as being this is the movie that you need to watch because this is going to make you a better filmmaker and things like that. It's when you watch the movie, there are so many parts, and I get, a lot of it comes down to the budget, $114,000, which is about $941,000 in adjusted dollars.
Because that matters.
People might want to know if they want to.
Say that seems like a lot of money for back in those days.
But the point is, it's I get that a lot of the movie is shot in a certain way because of limited budget
Sure.
and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot that is shot that when you really look at it, it looks like a stage play. Where just even some of the camera angles, they're trying to maximize the amount of space that they have and things like that. And there's always the classic. They had about 200 or 300 extras at some point that played either zombies or played some of the army guys. I just hit the microphone. But it's I think it's funny how you really see about 4 or 5 zombies repeatedly.
Yeah. Budget. It's a low budget movie. Yes.
But now, so to defend that point, you save budget, but it also, they're in the same town, right? So these people did start, probably going towards that. You can see them, at certain points walking through fields and stuff like that. They all probably made their way to wherever they hurt people, right? So.
Yeah, I mean that's before we go too far into it, give you a chance to talk about your 4.5.
So the reason I gave it 4.5 is because it is not a perfect movie, but it's more or less what it did for the genre, what genre it created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And let's face it, it created the modern day zombie.
Absolutely.
There's been changes to that. His zombies were very, very slow. Current zombies are very, very fast. But he created the zombie. So when people talk about movies they're making that are zombie movies, they say, well, is it a Romero zombie or is it a...
Max Brooks zombie.
How do you get that status without being a good movie for the time? Now, that's the other thing. This is the first movie of its kind. It was a super low budget. It was the first ultimately profitable movie ever because it was only $100,000 to make-ish. And yet it grossed how much work?
About $30 million at the time.
$30 million at the time.
Which in adjusted gross is $247 million.
So think about that.
That's 263 times its budget.
263 times its budget.
Now, was that because of word of mouth, or did it did it grow? I mean, was it like a Halloween thing where
there was a lot of word of mouth. The other thing that's really interesting about this movie is, so this movie was released in '68, I think in like March, April time in '68.
Mm-hmm.
The MPAA rating system came in November of '68.
Correct. It was after that. Yeah.
So
correct.
So even despite the titles, there were some reports that came out of families taking their kids to this movie and being horrified about like the gore.
All right.
and
Listen
stuff.
though, you're taking your kid to a movie that's titled Night of the Living Dead.
I'm with you.
Then obviously you were my parents because they took me to that stuff. Okay, so let me kind of wrap something up with this thing. Is this movie did something no other movie did at the time, horror or not. It created a genre. The actors in it were nobodies. Yes, they were stage actors, and that's why it comes off as stage acting. What a movie in the 60s didn't come off like that?
Mm-hmm.
What acting in the 60s didn't have actors that were like, oh gosh, Wilhelmina, oh my, sorry, they all had British accents.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it's called Atlantic.
Atlantic, is that what you're talking like? That's true. That's true. The fake British.
Over
Brand.
across the
Cary
pond.
Grant,
Yeah, you're right.
that was
You're right.
The Atlantic slip.
But
You're 100% correct. I mean, in other words, it's because obviously there's a huge difference between what even obviously at the time was a Hollywood movie
Right.
that had Hollywood stars in
Right.
it, as
Had
opposed
none of
to
that.
if you are an independent filmmaker, where are you going to draw your actors from?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to draw them from the stage.
Exactly, and even that, half of the actors were locals.
Right.
They were just people who were in town.
Well, even to the point where it's like Harry Cooper was Carl Hardman was one of the producers.
Correct, and a lot of the zombies were the sound engineers, the videographer, the editor. They were jumping in to be zombies because they had no money.
Right.
And they still made a movie that made 200 and how much percent over and above their budget.
Yep.
This is an achievement. Now, when you're talking about they put this in classes, I took that class. I have a degree in cinema, and I've taken classes like this because of what it did for the genre.
I get it. I mean, I said I gave it a 3.5. I have a T-shirt. That T-shirt.
Now, it's iconic. Is it the best movie? No. It's got a ton of mistakes, of course. But they had no budget.
Right.
So there's a certain amount of things you got to take with a grain of salt, or at least give a forgiveness for, saying, okay, well, forgiveness?
Sure.
Did I make up a word?
Yes, you did.
I created a genre of words.
No, not a genre word. Just
a word.
Just a word.
A word.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's yes. There's a reading into it. Reading some of the information about it, trivia about it, and stuff. There's a lot of super cool things that, to your point, are good lessons for your budding filmmaker. I think filmmakers today are probably a little bit more spoiled at the fact that you can have a 4K camera in your phone and because one of the big problems that they had was, I'm sure you read up with this, was they shot in 35mm.
Yes.
But all of the editing equipment was 16mm.
So it dummied it down. But they got a good graininess out of it. And
Right.
They were.
But one of my other favorite things that I found out was, so the reason why they even make mention of recently deceased. They talk about recently deceased as those are the people that were coming alive.
Yep.
And that was primarily because they realized that meant that they didn't really have to put a lot of effort into the makeup
Right, because they were still sort of fresh.
because they were still kind of
But
fresh.
they did do some makeup. You know what they used for makeup and blood and everything?
Well, I know the blood was chocolate.
Bosco chocolate
yeah.
syrup. Yep.
Yeah.
And the rest of the zombie makeup, the decaying flesh, was just literally embalmer's wax
Oh, really?
that they got from the local embalmer, and it's
Interesting.
just that's why it looks kind of flaky and
Yeah.
and not really good. And honestly, even the dead woman at the top of the stairs with her face eaten off, and you saw the skull, that was considered too graphically realistic
Yes.
when it came out.
And you know,
So-
Romero made that.
Of course he did, but
Yeah.
he made most of the stuff. Well,
And-
not just him. Tom Savini's.
But and so the eyes
Yeah.
were ping pong balls.
because
Couldn't
it was
tell.
brown and white.
So that's the one thing I did like about this film is I noticed that the first probably hour is quite a bit of what if, it's up to your imagination. You don't see much. You hear the radio, you hear the TV, they don't show much.
Correct.
And then I feel like he lulls you in, and then all of a sudden it turns into, okay, now they're eating people right in front of you.
Yes.
And I felt like that was more of to get past stuff, to be, because at the time I feel like this was probably one of those things where they probably hadn't shown people eating other people
No.
on
No.
screen at that point.
No.
Um,
They showed a lot to the bugs because they wanted to show them eating bugs just to gross you out.
Yeah, that's
It
the
was to
first
kinda
thing I noticed. I
gear
was
you
like,
up. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
so she ate a bug. I'm like,
Right.
all right, that probably grossed some people out. And they're like, yeah, you don't know what's coming.
Right,
So,
but that's just it. It was to kind of gear up and get you all kind of, that way when you did see it, it was a little bit more of an intense situation
Yeah.
for you.
yeah, it was good though in that they did that because I felt like it was more of a tease, right? You're kind of like having seen the film prior, I felt like it was bringing me to that point where I'm like, oh yeah, I know what's coming, and I was getting a little excited for it. So,
But I do think to exactly what you said is again a lot of that comes back to budget, right? In other words, it's without being too gross, people, you don't want to shoot your load too
You're
soon.
disgusting.
Sorry.
Jesus.
so you're saying that was foreplay, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
so. In other words, it's because I mean, and again, even what I was just saying before, the first zombie that you see in the cemetery that attacks Barbara and ultimately, it's right. You never see him actually kill Johnny.
No, but Johnny hits his head.
Johnny hits his head.
He knocked Johnny over, so did he kill him? Was it an accident? Who cares? He killed him.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. What a dick, right? Like, there's a
The
guy
zombie?
there's a guy walking by, and you go, "Ooh, he's gonna get you, Barbara," and then he take off running, past the guy, haha, he's gonna, and the guy actually does go. How does he not feel like a dick after that? Like, why would you?
We didn't feel it for very long.
Yeah, that's true. That was kind of a cheesy wrestling match, though. I was like, I guess.
Well, I mean, come on now. We're trying to stage a fight between one of who's an actor, one of who was just a guy.
Yeah.
But
But I guess one of the things I was saying though is again you see that
people. Sorry, go ahead.
you see that same guy as he's chasing Barbara towards to the farmhouse. It's she goes in the farmhouse and it's always that weird thing where it's initially you see her running and he seems to be maybe 50 feet behind her, and then she makes it all the way to the farmhouse and looks out the window, and he's
right
like,
there.
"Way across?" No, he's like, "Way across the other side of the field." No, it's like.
Well, and that was the other
slow.
thing
It's
is
just weird.
he did move rather quickly when she was in the car and she pulled
Well, even the fight.
the e-brake on that.
Well, okay. So here's, again, it's not a perfect movie. There were certain things in there that were not consistent with the zombie that he created, such as they used tools.
Right.
The zombies knew.
Which didn't happen right away, I noticed.
Yeah,
Sure.
it was
No,
really
no,
when
right
they're trying
away.
to get into the
Yeah.
house.
The first zombie picked up a rock to smash the window
Yeah.
to get into
Oh, that's true.
Barbara.
Yep. And then the other one picked up the wooden table
Leg to get
table
into
leg.
the
Yeah.
house, to bang on the door of the house.
Yeah.
So there was still some sort of archaic, humanistic, I don't know what you want to call it, to it. But that was he created zombies. They were allowed to use tools.
one question I
Yeah.
had about the whole thing was, could this have turned into a Walking Dead type of situation?
In what way?
In the sense that, according to what they were saying in the news reports, there was some downed satellite from Venus
Yep.
Okay.
that was giving off radiation.
Yes.
I'll take that.
So
So
to
my
me-
trivia question.
Okay. So to me,
Way to go. So fuck you.
yeah. No, the way I interpreted that was anybody within that range, if they were to die, would then become a zombie.
Right, absolutely.
It doesn't, because they weren't.
Yeah.
Think about it, Johnny wasn't bit, right?
Yes.
He just got knocked out,
Yes.
possibly killed by that. In that sense, now you don't know if he got bit after Barbara
No,
left or
absolutely
whatever.
correct.
But to me, that meant that anyone. So, and this is going to sound bad. Obviously, spoilers. Does that mean that
Hopefully
them?
people have seen movies from
Yeah, Jesus.
1968.
If you haven't, for crying out loud. Well, granted, I didn't until about 15, 20 years ago. But anyway, but then for me, that meant them killing Ben at the end was a necessary evil. If you think about it, like he gets killed because he looks like a zombie. He's exhausted. He's tired. He's kind of moping around. He's not.
Now,
So they to them.
technically, no.
Okay.
I disagree with that. So here's what we were. Here's okay. I'm not trying to preface this.
Get it out,
He
baby.
was also a first, being a leading man in a horror movie that was black.
Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Let me stop it real quick though. He did fucking awesome. I think
Oh,
he was
he
the
was
best.
great.
He was the
He
best
great.
actor
Well,
out of
again,
the entire film.
I don't know how far you say classically trained, but I'm like he was a proper thespian.
Correct.
Like and he was like well educated.
Correct.
And I'm sure this is probably part of your story, but I'm gonna spoil it anyway.
Please do. That's what we do. That's what we do. It's cool.
Like
Steal you.
Romero, up until the time that he died, swore blind that it's like he did not pick Dwayne Jones because of the fact he was black.
Right.
He picked him because he was the best person in the
And
audience.
he showed it. I mean, he
Right.
did a great job.
But that was just it. It's suspected that he really did try to make part of the statement that he was making on the climate at the time by making him a black man. He does say that it was just because he was great, because he didn't want the wrath of
Right.
the early 1970s racism to come down on him. But he also, at the end, made the statement of the Southern boys. Now, I say Southern boys, they're in Pennsylvania. That's not very
Right.
south, right? But the
Mentality.
police, when the guy, when he came to the window, they just said, "Oh, there's one. Shoot him."
Yeah.
Didn't say there's a zombie. Didn't say there's somebody who looks like a zombie. They didn't say wait till he comes out. Let's see what it is. He saw him, visually said shoot him.
Mm-hmm.
So
What?
there was some racist undertones.
And you know that's not what the studio wanted.
No,
The
of
studio
course not.
wanted, studio wanted a happier.
Right, they wanted him to
ending.
live. Yeah, they didn't want him to live specifically.
Didn't they film
tried
that too, though?
Correct.
I thought I read somewhere they had. Did they film that,
I don't.
Did they
I
film
didn't.
both endings? you mean?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
I didn't read. I didn't read.
or
that.
did they just like storyboard it? Maybe I thought I had heard somewhere that they,
No, I think they said
or maybe
from the
Romero just
studio.
talked about
because
it at some
because it was
point.
Romero that basically
Yeah.
said like no, this is what the movie is. It's that this is how it needs to end.
Yeah.
You know. Before we go for so one of the other interesting things I thought about this was so when Russo and Romero decided they wanted to create a movie. Do you know what the original plan for the movie was?
Can you
Space
give that some
hookers.
sort of context?
Well,
What
yes.
the
So
original plan for the movie
Was it?
Was
That'd be
not
awesome
a
if
zombie
it
movie?
it was not a zombie movie.
Oh, I do know this story, but I'll let you tell it. I'll let you
Well,
tell
so
it.
so,
Okay.
so basically, the original concept was basically aliens coming to Earth
Wasn't far off.
that were like they described them as hot rodding teens. So like they're aliens that they have their call.
You just love hitting that mic.
I know it's in my.
Sorry for those listening.
It's in his purview.
Yes. But so
Your
like
mic's getting used to it.
hot rodding teens that like they take their spaceship down to Earth and they want to like mess around with the Earth people.
Nice.
And Romero was like, yeah, this seems kind of lame. And so then it kind of transitioned into a kid who finds this field of decaying corpses below glass. Don't quite know why there'd be a field of glass, but anyway. And aliens were coming down and basically like picking off these decaying bodies. Like
Okay.
again, that was like kind of like the outline of what that story was. And Romero's like, yeah, this doesn't make sense either. But he liked the idea of the rotting bodies.
Okay.
And so kind of took the rotting bodies side and said, hey, what could we do with this? He obviously had seen The Walking Dead and White Zombie, not Walking Dead as in
different.
I got you.
yeah.
Just like wow.
and hence Night of the Living Dead was born.
Okay.
And I've got an extension of the story. So I heard the first part. I didn't hear the part about the decaying bodies under glass. I didn't hear that part, but it was supposed to be aliens at first. But Romero kept rewriting it to where he actually developed a 3-part play. 1, 2, and 3. Night of the Living Dead is part 1.
Okay.
Dawn of the Dead is part 2. Day of the Dead is part 3.
Wow.
So he actually wrote all 3 movies in it. Now, mind you, by the time he got to part 2, he rewrote it. Got to part 3, rewrote a little bit more. But it was all originally conceived and written in one script.
Wow.
This was only part 1 of that script.
Excellent.
But Romero sucks as a director, so the other 2 turned out to be crap. I'll explain that in finishing the bottle. So now you got to stick around for not just this one, the next episode, to get to the 3rd episode. Anyway.
And so the other part, Richard Matheson's I Am Legend.
Yes, that's correct. That was the major.
Was like heavy
motivator.
influence on him. The other thing that was interesting again, which changed when Dwayne Jones kind of showed up and started acting. The character of Ben was supposed to be like kind of a roughneck trucker.
Right.
And so that's why he has a truck outside, was because it's like he's not necessarily the Ford F-100 or whatever it was like a trucker.
Ford 50.
but still, he was supposed to be like this kind of like tough guy type thing, and when Jones came in, it just didn't seem like the way he was acting just didn't seem to really kind of fit that character.
Yeah.
And Jones himself actually kind of rewrote.
I was going to say, but it would, who influenced that?
Yeah.
Jones himself was the one who said, "Look, I don't want this character to be a stupid trucker guy."
Right.
He says, "I'm educated. I want him to be educated."
Well, and again, sign of the times. I mean, in other words, it's like he didn't want here's this black guy that's on screen in this kind of like heroic role.
Right.
I don't want him to be some like doofus.
Right.
Correct.
It's like it needs to show that out of all of the people that are ultimately in that farmhouse, he's the smart one. He's the one that really is kind of looking at things and saying, "Hey, what can we do?"
Correct.
Yeah,
a lot of the stuff that he did was pretty. It's survivalist, right? Like it seemed like let's board up the doors, and I mean he was very resourceful with what was given to him. Honestly, what pissed me off most about that was Barbara was nothing.
Oh my God!
I just was like, do something.
Yeah, I just want to slap her around.
Yes. When he finally hit her, I was like, I know you're not supposed to hit women, but God. And then she still didn't do anything after that. I'm like, well, maybe she was dazed.
But that was the other thing, and you may be talking about this as well. But so that was the other thing. So even though Jones was kind of very proud of the fact that he was going to have this leading role and part, even he thought twice about the scene where he hits Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Like a black guy hitting a white woman.
Sure.
Again, at that time. But Romero was like, no, this is what your character would do. We need to do it.
Yep. And that did get some backlash. Of course, anytime you put a black lead character in and submissive white characters following that, for that time, for 1968, 69, 70, 71, 72, that the movie was out there playing, he got some backlash for that.
Sure.
Because of what it showed. And he knew what he was doing with that. Romero knew what he was trying to do. He was purposely trying to change the tide for certain things. And I think he did. And I think it was a good move that he made Jones a little bit more intelligent in there. I do think Barbara was a waste of human flesh.
Yep.
But he also did try to make that character seem like she was so traumatized by her brother dying that she couldn't function anymore.
But don't you think in reality, in the exact scenario, when you look through the timeline of exactly what happened, she doesn't know that he's dead. All she knows that
correct. She just assumes, and she assumed she was going to go back to him, right? Like he's got the keys, that type of stuff. So
you're right. You're right. He did find him later on, but she was already in a fucked up state by that time. So.
Right. I mean, it's It was weird because she was already running away from the ghoul. And,
Yes.
And that's the main point of the fact that...
Thanks for stealing my trivia.
Nobody said zombie. Nobody said zombie.
No, yeah, zombie was not mentioned throughout the entire
They call
film.
them ghouls.
Yes. What was the other thing I was going to say?
Well, let me finish up with something about Barbara. So, Tom Savini, who was the special effects makeup guy, and him and
Never heard of him.
Yeah, right. Him and what's his name?
Romero. Yes.
Did a lot of movies together. They became very close friends. They were very
Tight.
simpatico, collaborative. They were very. They worked well together, and that's why Savini was given the green light by Romero to remake Night of the Living Dead. And in that remake of Night of the Living Dead, he made Barbara a strong, competent woman. Gave her a short haircut. She was the one who survived at the end and walked out there, and even though she was sort of a catatonic waste of flesh at the very beginning, she became she mustered up the
She saw some shit.
she became a strong, powerful woman, and he did that purposefully because both he and Romero realized that Barbara was way too weak of a character for anybody to like or identify with at all from the first one. So this was, as Romero said, this was his chance to rewrite that character.
So why was Savini not involved as much in the first movie?
Is this a trivia question?
No, but...
Is this an honest question, or do you
No,
have
no,
an
no,
answer?
I know the answer.
Oh, okay, all right.
But like when you mentioned Savini, I thought
Yes.
that's part of your story was going to be that.
It was not. I'll let you tell that story.
Oh, so there's this little thing called the Vietnam War, and he was a photographer. I don't know if it was Stars and Stripes, but he was a photographer in.
Just the company photographer. He was the one that was allowed to document
Okay.
everything.
Kind of like, oh my God,
He didn't have like.
Full Metal Jacket.
Similarly. I don't
oh
know
my
if that
God.
was the same thing, but yeah, it could have been
What's
the
his-
same thing.
Hoover?
No. What's the character's name that is the photographer?
Oh, that's
Matthew Modine is
yes.
who it is.
I cannot think of his
Anyway.
name.
Anyway,
Matthew Modine.
We digress.
But anyway, so he was in the Vietnam War taking pictures, and so he really says that the reason why he's so good at gore and getting a good blood color is because he saw a lot of it.
And took pictures of it. He's still
Vietnam.
got a lot of those.
And you know, it's part of the special effects stuff that he ended up doing was really almost like a soothing is the wrong word, but like, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's probably better choice
Yeah.
of words.
But in other words, it's like that's
No.
yes, yeah, because in other words, it was like that's
Oh.
kind of how he dealt with like some of the horrible things
That's
he
true.
saw.
That's true.
But anyway, but so to Lon's point, you know, they had an opportunity to do a remake of it, and it was you know, somewhat obviously, I'm sure many of you have seen it, a shot-for-shot remake, and weirdly they changed Barbara's name to be Barbara as opposed to Barbara. Don't know why.
Because that's what they say. They're coming to get you,
Barbara.
Barbara. They don't say come to
Barbara.
get you, Barbara. Come
Yes.
to get you, Barbara.
Well, the other thing that's funny is that everyone, it's another like Silence of the Lambs kind of quote thing where it's like they only say it once, but it's like, you know, everyone talks about it as though they said like
Because it was
all throughout.
because
It was pretty
French.
distinct,
You
though.
know who the actor was? Do you guys remember the actor in the remake?
oh
Who did that? Who did the brother?
Oh, I should know that.
Because from that point on, he went to do a shit ton of Rob Zombie movies.
Bill Moseley.
Bill Moseley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of Bill Moseley's first gigs.
I did know that, but I didn't remember that.
There you go.
Yeah.
But back to Tom Savini doing that part, I love Tom Savini.
Mhm.
I love his directorial stuff. I love his special effects, of course,
Because he's fun.
because he's fun. But when he was acting in movies, he was just because he was like a freaking tank, that guy.
Yes.
And
Well, he did stunt stuff too,
he
right?
did. He did stunts. He did because he wanted to do it. He wanted to live the life.
He
Unfortunately,
was,
it
in
also
a movie,
meant
he was in a movie called Night Riders. You ever seen Night Riders?
no.
It
I
was.
didn't know he was in a movie.
Oh my God, who's the other main actor? But anyways, it was all about like think like medieval jousting, but it was jousting
With
on
motorcycles?
motorcycles.
That's badass.
Interesting.
That's
I kind of want to see that. Yeah. Now that you
yeah,
say
and
that.
it was directed by like I don't know, like know what you said. I know you said last time we should have like a screen up with IMDb on it.
Yeah, we probably should.
But anyway, so Knight Riders, watch it, people.
There you go.
Sure.
But Tom Savini, I think, did well in directing. I shouldn't. We're diverging out of the Tom Savini thing. We probably shouldn't. What are we at? 37 minutes. We're fine.
Yeah, we got
It's not
time.
including. That's not
Can I
including the
elaborate
first
on
part.
Tom Savini a
Oh,
little
remember
bit?
we had a little bit first part.
Yeah, I think we had about 15 minutes on
Oh,
the
that's
first part.
right.
That's okay. But go ahead,
For
do your thing.
technical Difficulty.
What's the worst that's going to happen?
Tom
He's going to
Savini-
blow his wad on Tom Savini.
Oh
Is that what
my
you're saying?
God.
I think so.
Oh
He's
my
going to give
God.
him a 5.4.
So anyway,
Inches?
yes, I think this movie was.
Just the tip.
Sorry, we're having. Well, I was like, Jesus Christ! I just want to finish my story.
I'm a professional,
Go for it.
goddammit.
Yeah,
I've been trying
I think the whiskey's kicking in. Is what the
to
problem is.
lower my swearing because I was watching one of the old videos and I swore every third word.
Damn.
Yet
Fuck.
Why? Why would you do such a thing?
I guess I don't have to fucking worry about it anymore, do I? Sons of bitches.
Hey, we mark everything explicit, so we're good.
Okay. All right, so let's get into some trivia then.
All right. I'm at the trivia.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
wait.
I,
got a story.
If you got a trivia, you go for it, buddy.
Well, I got some stuff.
I'm digging this rye, man. I'm liking
I-
it more and more.
I do. It's definitely nice.
I'm starting to get into the scotchy
I know.
feeling
I was
now.
about to say it's
So.
definitely gooder.
Gooder?
But I stopped myself. But apparently I didn't. 'cause I-
You didn't. You
You
just,
just said
anyway.
it. That's on film.
So we talked about the fact that this is Romero's first feature-length movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know one of the other kind of very well-known things that he used to be the cinematographer for?
Before this or
Mhm.
after this?
Before this.
I'm gonna guess porn.
Think if it helps at all. Think the like where everything was shot and what else was shot in.
I keep watching his hand get as close to that mic. I'm like,
Did you
No.
want to move your mic back?
No,
because I'm
it's
afraid-
fine.
I'm afraid it's not going to.
It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's fine. It's
You
just
are kind
more.
of the
It's a little
quieter
game that
one here.
we should have a game
I'm
where anytime he
quiet.
touches the mic, you have to take a
Quieter.
shot.
quieter.
You gotta like.
I gotta have a deep voice.
Whoa.
So anyway,
Oh, okay, no, so-
so it's from Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
So there was another very, very well-known show that was shot in Pittsburgh.
Okay, because I know he did
Philadelphia.
some TV stuff before this, but I don't know what show.
It's Pittsburgh, right? Or was it
What did you say?
I said Philadelphia, the movie with Tom
Oh,
Hanks.
It was a TV show.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
I knew TV. I knew he did TV show. I don't know what show.
PBS show.
Okay.
Mr.
Rogers?
Mr. Rogers. That's right. I did know
Yes.
that.
I did not know
I
that.
did know that.
That is sexy.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so
so
pissed I couldn't remember
So
that.
this isn't really trivia. This is it's trivia. Just it's not necessarily a question at the end of it.
embarrassed.
So at the beginning of the movie, you see them driving. Barbara and Johnny drive up in the car. Anyone know what car it was?
It was a Plymouth.
No.
It was- no.
Right letter.
Yeah.
Pontiac.
Pontiac GTO, wasn't it? Not a
No.
GTO. It was a
Back from the GT.
GT.
No. it was the Le Mans. Which
The
is
Le Mans.
basically what the GTO was.
Before. Yeah.
So
Okay.
so it was basically owned by the mother of Carl Hardman.
Okay.
So it was her car, brand new car, and so they used that because again budget. So when you see her crash it into the tree
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it has a dent on it, that's because on the way to shooting, it got into a fender bender. And they were like, "Well, how can we shoot the
It's like,
car?"
see, that's ingenuity right there, man.
if there's a dent on the side. So they shot that day on the other side of the car, and then they needed an excuse.
I did find it rather amusing when the thing crashed into it. I'm like, that dent looked like it was already there.
They made a point of showing it really close up
Yeah.
too, of it going against the trees, like.
Well, but also the point is like the tree's here, the car is going this way,
Yeah.
and the dent is going that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
it's like
Did it bounce off?
That's fun. I did not know that.
That is good.
Good on you, Borg.
what was the other
I
one I
did
had
not
here?
know that.
Okay, that
Wow.
so I have more trivia questions.
Okay.
But when
Well, I'll
what-
play
when we
off
get
of
back-
yours. What was the license plate?
I knew you were going to ask that. I purposely didn't look it up because I got.
It was not easy. This one took me a little.
I really
They didn't do front plates.
tried.
They didn't do front plates,
And
right?
They don't do front plates.
Right, so it was-
They do have back plates.
I couldn't see it.
So the scene was when they're driving up and they turn right to go up the hill. I could not see it for the life of me. It would look. It was. I tried 3 different things. I tried like a YouTube high definition version of it, which they have on there for free, just in case anybody wants to know. I also tried, the version you have, which was, streaming pretty well. It was of really good quality. I could not make anything out. After they go up the hill, and then when they turn into the cemetery, briefly, if you pause it, you can get it. And it took me. I had to pause it because I had to also check because it was blurry in one shot, and the next one it wasn't. It was actually. Now I don't have my glasses, so S72-178.
Ah.
Yeah. So that was a tough one, and I originally didn't think they had it, and then after I finished all the trivia, I went back and said, "I'm gonna fucking find it." It was pissing me off.
Well, so you guys both picked up on something. So it's on YouTube, as you said. It's on YouTube because it's in the public domain.
Yes.
Do you know why it's in the public domain?
Yes.
Because it's got a black lead actor. I have no idea.
No.
No.
So, well, okay.
Because Romero's an idiot.
But before, actually, no, not Romero at all. So let's go back a step forward. What was and this isn't to do with the alien, what was the original name of the movie?
I don't. I should know that, but
Are
I
you
don't.
talking in writing or when it was being filmed? Because when it was in writing, it was the alien thing.
No, so it was. Oh my god, my writing's so goddamn small in here. I can't goddamn
I was going to say.
I might be able to.
Oh,
I
no,
had
here you
those
go. Oh yeah. So it was originally called Night of the Flesh Eaters, and so the distributor of the movie released it as Night of the Flesh Eaters. But before they were able to release it, they have to kind of do their checks to make sure there's no one else out there. And there's another movie out there called The Flesh Eaters.
Oh.
And they threatened to sue.
Oh, I knew there was.
Really?
I didn't think they threatened to sue.
They threatened to sue if they didn't change their name.
Okay.
So the distributors, because they were running into a deadline of when they had to get these things out, they said, okay, we're going to change the name to Night of the Living Dead. But when they changed it to Night of the Living Dead, they forgot to put the copyright notice at the beginning and the end of the movie.
Oh.
And in 1968, the only way that you claimed copyright of a movie was by having a copyright notice at the beginning and the end of the movie.
Interesting.
And so they fought all the way up until like every year they kept on fighting the fight. And part of the reason why they did the remake was to kind of
Get that copyright back in.
I
Interesting.
respectfully disagree. I had heard a completely different story.
Well, I found mine on the internet.
I know. Mine came from the intraweb. So the way I had heard it was that, Romero and there were 2 writers.
Yeah,
Right?
Russo and Romero.
And Russo and
Double
Romero
R.
started after the success of Night of the Living Dead. They wanted to keep writing, but they each wanted to go in different directions, and they fought over the next movie rights and who could do what and who would do what. Because if you think about it, Romero wrote the script and he had Night of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. Russo went out and wrote Return of the Living Dead and a couple other movies that were sort of in the vein. And his were more successful in box office than Romero's movies.
Sure.
Now, the point is that they were fighting. So when they were fighting over the legal rights, they forgot to renew any copyrights, and it fell into public domain back then when they were fighting in the 70s over the movie rights.
So the reason why I'm going to call bullshit on that is because technically you don't lose copyright for 50 years.
What do you mean lose copyright?
So no,
once you
if
lose
you-
copyright, you have to try to regain it, and because they were fighting, they could not regain it because they could not settle who owned it.
But no, I don't think it was owned at the beginning. Like the distribution company fucked up when they put the.
So there you go. Somebody research this shit and put it in the comments.
And I guarantee
what did you find?
You'll
out?
find both of the articles that we clearly read.
Which begs the argument: which is right?
I don't
Because
disagree.
I don't know. What I had heard was one thing. Doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, I mean I said it with an English accent, which automatically
Which
makes it
more believable. Sound.
Does make it more believable.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, another
All
trivia
right,
question.
Sure.
So Johnny and Barbara go all the way to the cemetery. I got some like these are all these are very Johnny.
Very Johnny.
These are very Logan questions.
Oh, okay.
So
I've got some too.
they go to the cemetery and they bring with them something that they're going to put on the gravestone. Do you remember what does it say?
He's smiling.
That was one of my questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm proud of you.
Well, let's hear it.
We still remember.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Do you have a question?
Should we do that?
Yeah, we'll do one.
I'll do one.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I'll throw one in there while you're looking.
Yep.
What are the first name or names that you see on tombstones as they're going into the cemetery?
Oh man, that's.
Oh, I don't have that one. I do have a tombstone one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say like Jones or something.
Jones and Smith.
No. It's actually Dunbar, and then a little further to the right is Kennedy. So as they're driving in, you can actually see two headstones. So Dunbar's on the far
Okay, that's
left,
pretty
and
good.
Kennedy's
That's
on the
pretty
right.
good.
So
Do you have yours ready?
I do. Wait, let me go through them now. Not zombies, they're called ghouls. The original Night of the Flesh Eaters. We got all that. Script development. Richard Matheson's book. By the way, I Am Legend. I do have another not trivia, but I do have another interesting fact about that. Matheson hated the fact that Romero used his book for inspiration.
I haven't read that song.
really,
Yeah.
But he let it go because he liked Romero. He thought Romero was a nice guy.
Aw.
So he didn't sue him or anything like that. But in public, he criticized Romero for using his book as inspiration.
But I mean, but again, I mean, it's like having. I mean, inspiration. I mean, it's like I don't think there's anything.
Right, it's not the
you look at
storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Yep,
I
yep.
agree. I totally agree. I'm like, why would he get pissed? How would you even know that he used it?
I mean, truly, I guarantee you, if you had, 100 people watch that movie, there'd be maybe one that would go, "Oh,
I Am
this is a
Legend."
little bit like I Am Legend."
And think about it. I Am Legend was remade like 4 times.
Right.
And Madison had okay with all those.
And
So-
Charlton Heston version is, by the way, the best version.
Is certainly interesting. Okay. Cemetery. Okay. Here's a Logan-esque question. Where's the camera?
It's right there.
Do you need me to go? Okay.
The police car that was a wagon that had the dog, the canine
Yep.
unit police car. What was license plate? You fuckers! You fuckers!
That would be 05048R. Maybe it was BR.
It was 8R.
Okay, do you know what the canine number was?
Dick. Oh, the number of the actual dog?
No. But so like each canine unit typically has a number.
Okay. I did not get the canine unit.
I think it says K9
Yes,
something.
it's written on the back.
Yeah,
back door.
and then I remember seeing 25,000 at some point, but I don't think that was it. I'm gonna say 12, but
5.
I was
So was that on the dog or was that?
no on the back.
On the back door. So,
Yeah.
so like when the car goes by, you see the white door and it says K95 written on it.
I had to pause because the dog jumps in front of the
What?
license plate, and I'm like, oh shit!
It's like I'm so sick and tired of his questions that now I go through and that exact same moment. It's like I see the dog jump the way and I'm like, oh god! I kept on going back. Kept on going
Takes
back.
like 3 or 4 pauses.
And then all of a sudden I realized that just let the dog go by.
Yeah,
and
and there you go,
can
yes.
see it right
I
away.
do the same thing. I'm like, Amy's getting sick and tired of me pausing this movie all the time. She goes, just let it play.
Oh, now you know how I felt trying to find that fucker in the beginning. I'm just like, did it get? No, that's not it. No, go next frame. Oh no, zoom in.
That's
Okay.
brilliant.
Well,
Next.
I'll give you an easy one first.
Okay.
That was great.
What day of the week do they show up at the cemetery?
Oh.
They showed up, I believe it was a Friday, because they wanted to get back. They were there late, and there's like, by the time we get back, it'll be midnight. And it had to be Sunday then.
It was a Sunday,
Yeah, it
yeah,
was a Sunday.
because they said that the time just changed. So usually that changes on Saturday
Okay.
into
Right.
Sunday or
Okay.
Sunday morning.
Well, and also
that's
later on in
good.
the movie they also talk about the fact that people are coming from church.
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn things.
Um,
change.
Okay, very good.
So,
Good on you.
how long was
Is this a two-parter?
No,
Related to the first part?
how long did Johnny and Barbara say it took them for their trip from home to the cemetery and back again?
Total time?
Yes.
I was going to say it was 2 hours out to
Yes.
the cemetery, so 4 hours total.
It's 3
1
hours
and a half.
out.
3
3
hours,
hours out to
yeah.
the cemetery.
Oh,
and
and 3 hours back,
so
so
6 hours.
total.
Yes.
I remember them saying they wouldn't get back till after.
Oh my god, this is such a
A
loaded
loaded
question.
question? Mm-hmm.
How many pens did Johnny have in his pockets? Do you have this one?
No, but I think the sad thing is I think I know, but I believe it was 2. Was it 2?
It is 2.
Okay, I don't know why that. See, now stupid shit like that should be in here, and I don't have it in there, but it's stuck in my craw for some reason.
Oh my god!
Okay, I've got a gravestone question.
You guys
Okay.
do trivia, literally.
So when they first see the ghoul, and the ghoul starts trying to attack Barbara initially, and then Johnny comes in, Barbara kind of like retreats back and kind of stands by a gravestone. What was the name of the gravestone?
So I had a little trouble with this one. It looked to me like it was Blair, but it was Lair is all I could see.
That must be a different one then.
Okay.
This is Nicholas Kramer.
Oh, well, sorry. Okay, yeah, you are correct. I'm thinking of...
The Blair Witch Project.
Yes. No. There was...
Terrible movie.
That was. I think that was when they walked up. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the one when they walked up to when they first walk up to the grave. Sorry. So yes, Nicholas Kramer. That was one of my questions actually. So I should have known that.
Your turn.
Okay, you want me again? Here we go.
This is fun,
gonna be,
by the way.
This is going to totally piss
For
these guys
us.
off. What radio station did Johnny have his car dialed to?
WIC-TV.
No.
No,
Radio
it was a
station.
it was
Oh,
a
shit,
number.
that was the
It was a
TV
number.
station.
It was a number.
I didn't get that. I was waiting for a call sign, but didn't hear a call sign.
Yeah, it was 14.
Good old AM 14.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, so you spoiled one of the questions.
Yeah, the TV. I
The
had that
TV
was
station
online,
was
too.
WIIC,
WIC, which, by the way, is a real
the real station, because they actually thanked them at the end.
Yep.
Okay, so actually, let's go the other way around. So Ben talks about the fact that there's a diner down the street, because that's where he originally was listening to the radio broadcast,
Yes.
where they talk about the shit that was going down.
Right.
Do you remember what the name of the diner was?
Fuck. I remember the diner. I don't remember
It took
the
me
diner.
a second because I had to rewind and listen to it, but I believe it's Beekman's Diner.
Yes, you are correct.
There you go.
Yeah, because I was like, did he say beat or beak?
I
And
had to do the same, and to be honest, I did cheat. Not really cheat.
Did you turn on
Oh, you
subtitles?
looked it
No.
Oh.
No, I literally said in like Butner's or something or other, whatever I thought I heard, and diner, and he said, "Oh, Beacon's Diner." I'm like, "Oh, no.
There you go.
Good, that's the right one." Do you have one?
I do. I have several. But I'll give you one. Yeah, we kind of talked about that one already. Oh, I've got a gold one I'm going to keep for later. But this one's an easy one. I'm going to save that for the end. But this one's an easy one. There was a point made of showing this multiple times, and I know this is one of Logan's questions, so I'm going to just rip it right out of his soul.
Sure.
What brand was the radio?
Easy.
Logan.
How did you not know that?
No.
It was
Hold on,
right,
hold on.
It was right there.
Yeah, I didn't make it a question because I thought it was too obvious.
Now, to be honest, you could guess because I think there was only a few.
Yeah, I'm gonna say RCA, but I'm
Oh,
totally.
and he picked the wrong one.
Well,
Son of a
clearly
bitch.
Ward knows it.
I should have.
It was
I-
Zenith.
It was
Zenith. Ah,
It was a
God.
Zenith.
Yeah, I saw that and I go, oh, I should probably. And then I go, nah, that's too easy.
There was one of the sequels that Romero made that starts off with them honing in on that radio, the
Oh, really?
exact radio that he used, the Zenith that he used on it, that he used for a trailer.
So,
Okay.
so this isn't like a trivia question, but this is just trivia anyway. So, did you know that? So, the farmhouse that they picked was the farm was about to demolish it,
Correct.
and so they actually had to repair it
Yeah.
in order to make it safe for them to actually.
Which they
record
could have
it.
just left it because then, maybe the zombies.
Well, they had to have it so actors didn't die. but
Right.
that's-
Well, there's
you know,
that.
I
Right.
get it. I
Well,
get it.
I don't know if they cared about that
I
back
get
then,
it.
right?
Well, but I'm,
Budget's
As
big
much,
today.
yeah.
I'm sure you read the same thing that there was like 4 or 5 actors that were burnt.
Yeah.
Like in different ways, like when Ben's trying to like burn the chair
Right.
at the beginning,
Right.
it wasn't burning correctly, and so one of the cameramen or something or other came in and it's like adding more stuff to it and like gets burned and stuff.
And there was, by the way, that was a good continuity error in the movie, because when he flips over the table and he's got the chair and he's got the leg on it, and one time he goes, the leg is actually burning on the back of the chair as he's going back in the house, and he comes back out and he's still got the leg in his arm.
Yes.
And Ben throws it on there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So okay, let's move forward to the point where they're now watching the TV, and you see the news broadcast talking about the events that are happening, and it lists a whole bunch of rescue stations. Do you know what the first rescue
I was going to say,
station was?
because I was like, do I pick the third one? Which is Logan going to pick? Is he going to pick the last one? Is he going to pick the most significant?
Well, you were
the closest?
close. I picked the.
I was like,
gonna.
fuck it.
I picked the last one, by the way.
Yeah,
but
see, because I wasn't going to.
But-
There's so fucking many. I'm like, I'm not looking at all these. Forget
the
it.
sad thing was I took
Forget
a
it.
whole shit ton of
Yeah,
screenshots.
well, yeah, you did.
So I'm gonna go with was the first one Youngstown Township
Yes.
Municipal Hospital. There
Okay,
we go.
so you got that one. So we talked about it a little bit before. What was the name of the satellite that ultimately came down?
The Venus.
No.
So
Oh,
that's
oh.
when it was around Venus.
Yeah.
Circled
That's
Venus.
where it was going.
Oh God.
Really, when you think about it, it's pretty.
Orbiter? No.
Close but similar kind of thing. It's got Explorer.
Explorer. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this is the this is the final question that I have, and this is like, oh my god, such a Logan question. It is ridiculous. Towards the end of the movie, there's a helicopter that lands in the field. So there are call letters on the side.
You want to do the first letter, third letter? So I'll do the first two. You do the last one. You want to do the first two?
I honestly, I think I took a screenshot of it, but I did not add it in my question.
Can I
So
try
go ahead.
straight
You
up
go
the
for it.
thing?
You
Yeah.
go right ahead, sir.
KOV?
Actually, it was KQV.
KQ. Yeah.
QV. You're
So-
right.
I
The tail
had to really zoom in.
probably was off. KQV.
KQ.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
but I'll go one further than that.
Of course you will.
What was the actual call sign of the helicopter? So that was basically
That's a
like
good
the
one.
radio station, or that was something
Yeah.
like
Which
that.
was an actual radio station too.
But every plane, every aircraft has a call sign.
Yes, their own individual
Right.
helicopter letters. Okay, I don't know that.
I don't know.
Come on, impress me.
I know. Maverick.
No.
This is in the same vein of a license plate for a car,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I got a few of them too.
N2269U.
69 me what?
Yeah, that's it.
That's too much.
All right,
All right, I'll just do like one or two more.
Yeah, I was gonna
But-
say
And unspent.
I'll give two. We're way over an hour and 20.
yeah, because we're awesome.
So.
Oh, I
you-
do.
and I'll
Oh,
just
you
do
look,
two. Go ahead,
look at
go ahead.
that. What was the name of the satellite? I
Yeah.
should have known that one.
Too bad.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I'll do it kind of an easy one. This will make you think.
Okay.
How many Molotov cocktails did Harry Cooper make?
How many did he make?
Yes.
Or how many did he throw?
Well, he made and threw the only amount he had.
I was going to say,
Three.
you got through all three of them, right? You made three, threw three.
There's four.
I don't
There's
think
four.
you threw third
Yes.
I think you
There's
added
four.
one too many.
Well,
No,
I think that's one
there's
over
four.
here, too,
There's
that
four.
added to that whole
There's
thing.
four. He throws the first one out. He throws two more, and then he throws the last one, and then because I had to double check.
Really?
There's four.
Okay.
There's four. Or if somebody wants to prove me wrong, go for it.
I
I don't like it.
Okay.
So, all right. This is probably gonna piss you guys off. What was the license plate of Ben's
Come
truck?
on! The truck that blew up?
Mm. Which this made it really hard in this film because there's no license plates in the front. So there's only select scenes where you would see it.
Did you see it when it was already burnt?
It was right before. It's as they're driving out to the gas.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's only like you have to pause and see it. It's not easy to catch.
151 KQX.
So it's kind of along the same lines. It was S77 and 41B as in boy.
Fuck.
and I'm sure someone could probably tell us that means that it came from
Yeah,
this particular place in
I would not doubt it.
Pennsylvania.
Well,
So-
they mentioned the town that they filmed in.
And I'm gonna end on my last. This is gonna be my last question. So if you have other ones,
Okay.
what zombie was next to, or ghoul, excuse me, was next to Ben in the fire?
What ghoul was next to Ben in the fire? So we're talking the end credits.
Correct.
When they dragged Ben's body into the fire. Before they burned him up, really, it was just in the pile.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even.
Well, it had
It's
to be,
it's like I think it's during the credits, and then they kind of cut away to this one picture.
well, they didn't
Actually, they
have
had
any
multiple
zombies
pictures
to
of it.
begin with, so it's got to be either one of the other people that were in the house.
I'm gonna say it's the
or main
cemetery zombie.
You're correct. It was the very first zombie that they see.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense.
That was a guess.
That's a good.
That was a
okay,
good guess. It was a very
but
good
that's
guess.
more genius to do the beginning and then.
Correct.
I was
Yep,
gonna say my
that's-
guess was more cheating.
Not,
No.
Not as much.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. So I've only got two. I'll do a minor one first and then the real tough one.
Okay.
Minor one. How far away was the nearest safe zone that they needed to drive to in the truck?
15 miles.
No.
I wanted to say 17.
17's correct.
Ah.
Wow, look at the big brain on Logan.
You said that was the
Do you know the name of the
That
county
was
that they
easy.
were going to?
The name of the county?
Yes.
No.
Willard.
Willard
Yes.
County.
Yeah.
All right, this is my favorite.
Okay.
You know the character Harry?
And
The
the
asshole in the
base-
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
God,
In fact, actually, looking back on it, I think they all
Oh, an
used
apology?
the same one. No.
Oh.
What brand of cigarette did everybody smoke?
I honestly saw that and I wanted to pay attention to it and I didn't.
Specifically him, that one character, because that's the only one I could really tell. Because there weren't colors in these things. You had to go by the pen, and then you caught a glimpse of the word on
I'm gonna say
one
Lucky
small
Strike.
I was going to say,
frame.
because that tells you the fact that he mentioned colour, it can't be Marlboro, because then he would have talked about the fact you would have seen the symbol.
Yeah, Lucky Strike's my one.
Churchill?
Yeah, you're getting
Paul Malls, I don't know.
Yeah.
They probably
Yeah.
weren't even around
I
back
think it's
then.
very English, isn't it?
I don't-
Isn't Paul English?
Maybe.
Winston cigarettes.
Oh, Winston's.
Okay.
Winston cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, eat that, people. All right,
stuff.
well, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
We went way over, but you know what?
We're having fun
enjoying this
and we don't
bourbon.
care.
I'm enjoying this one as well.
I already double enjoyed mine.
Not bourbon, I correct you.
Yes,
Rye
whiskey.
Rye.
Whiskey.
It's
Rye.
not a bourbon. Bourbon. Really enjoyed the movie.
You just said it again. The
Did I
rye.
say it again?
Yes.
Really enjoyed this bourbon.
The rye. Siberian film.
Oh boy.
Thank you for joining us. Somebody give a close to this.
Thank you for joining us. As always, if you've made it this far through, hopefully you've made it this far through.
Do you like the sound better than previous
Does the sound
episodes?
sound better? It looks like
Are
it's
we
better.
good?
I will say it's going to take me
It
a little
is.
bit used to getting this thing
Yeah.
right here.
He's a very handsy
He's used
person.
to having long
I-
things in his face, but
Yes.
not a
No.
microphone.
Yes, not this fluffy either. But anyway, as we've always said, hopefully you've watched all the way through. If there's anything that you want to comment about what we've said, put it in the comments below. Obviously, if this is the first time you've actually watched the channel, subscribe. I always point over here. I don't know.
It's
Subscribe
somewhere. It's
over
usually.
here.
I think for you, it's probably your left.
Yeah, but
So,
it's over here, right?
well, we'll just
No,
all
that's-
point.
Subscribe, and then the bell
Put it in
is
the
over here.
corner.
Put the notification.
Ah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Just subscribe,
Like and
follow.
subscribe
It
us.
would really help us out.
We're always looking for ideas of what movies we want to watch.
And pairings.
And pairings with whiskeys or adult beverages
Ryes.
in general. We always also like to say, if you happen to watch this and you are a distributor of adult beverages, send us some of your stuff.
We don't want White Claw.
No White Claw.
We like spirits.
No
Not even vodka.
Zachariah Harris.
We won't even be that picky. If you send us Zachariah Harris, send it to us. We can sell it for $1.
We can give it a 1.
But
Point
like, subscribe. That's the most important stuff. And if you're following us on a streaming service to listen to the podcast part, and you can't like and subscribe, you can definitely follow us. Whatever you subscribe us, whatever you listen to us on, definitely hit
Yeah.
that follow, hit
Available.
that like.
And
We
anything,
need you.
if
We love you.
if you're on a service that gives you stars or thumbs ups or all those kind of things, just give us the best,
Yeah, because we're awesome.
because we are awesome.
Yeah, we deserve 5s.
And we love doing this.
Yes.
We really do.
And we have a live show coming up. If you're paying attention to the date we're recording, we're not going to announce it when.
But it's already going to have gone.
It's already out there, isn't it?
Like by the time this comes out,
How did you like that live show?
hopefully you came
Wasn't
to the
that a
live
great
show.
live show? I loved it. I had the
We're
best
planning
time
on
We
at
had
that live
we had
show.
a great time.
Oh,
Oh
it
my
was
God! Remember
awesome.
when that thing happened?
That
Oh
thing
my
with
God,
that one
that thing
thing?
with the
Oh,
girl?
Oh
my God.
my
Oh my
God!
God.
That
I
was
think the alcohol
crazy.
has kicked in
God.
for these
Oh,
guys.
you got to watch that video, which is already played.
All right, folks.
Did
Thank
turn
you
it off
again.
already?
No, it's still
He's-
going.
He's still going.
All right,
All right.
we'll do the pause.
We love you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love you, everyone.
And-
You gotta give it a second.
And
Credits and that's okay.
see.
He
And
already
now you do
he blew his wad.
it. We're done. We're
Still moving.
we're
Ronald.
turn it.
Uh-oh. Now you ruined